Hello and welcome to Glorious Miniatures on today, the 30th of April 2023, with news from Warhammer Fest. Well, it's an article. I'm not at Warhammer Fest. However, we do have the latest article on the Old World, which is a fantastic thing. I'm really looking forward to this. Let's just get into it straight away, shall we? A noble Brettonian paladin stands up to a Tomb King. We already know that the undead legions of the Tomb Kings of Khemri and the noble knights of Brettonia are major players at the time of Warhammer, the Old World. We've seen some of the existing models given a new lease of life in time for the game, but what are the new models? The good news is this: they're coming, and they look amazing. Our first two models from Warhammer the Old World are a Tomb King from Nehekara and a Brettonian paladin. They're both resin models, and they're the first of many we'll see before the game is out. New models for the game will be released in Citadel plastic and Forge World resin, and they'll join a whole range of resurrected and revitalized miniatures from prior editions of Warhammer Fantasy battles in plastic, resin, and metal to make satisfyingly varied armies. We took a moment to talk to the team behind these fantastic new miniatures. I was really happy to find out that I was going to be working on a Tomb King, explains Agata, who sculpted the Tomb King. Their story is so tragic, and I found it fascinating to learn all about it. They spent all that time preparing for a glorious afterlife, but thanks to a cruel twist of fate, they're forced to suffer their eternal life trapped within shriveled, mummified bodies. I wanted to capture that tragedy and the anger they must feel about their fate in the miniature, which is why he is posed in such an aggressive stance with such a furious expression on his face. And here is the Tomb King. Obviously, we have a front view right here. He is holding a sort of scepter and I always forget the name of this weapon. This this curly scythe kind of thing. I know it's got a proper name. Anyway, he's got one of them. And you can see sort of bits of mummified flesh and bits of skeleton. Obviously, very bright colors of that part of the world. Bronzed armor. Absolutely glorious. Square base. Very important. I'm really looking forward to this. Not necessarily the Tomb Kings. It's great to see them on their way back. Although I did, when I was into Warhammer Fantasy Battle, which was barely, to be honest, I did start collecting an undead army. In fact, I've got proper Nagash, obviously, because he's the best one to have. Unfortunately, I don't believe he'll be able to run this army, as Nagash and the Tomb Kings aren't really friendly. Anyway, so yeah, he's got some sweet robes, some nice jazzy armor. Here's the back. He's obviously got a cloak, which is probably the most important part of any miniature, as far as I'm concerned, at least when it comes to HQs. He's got his, I want my brain saying it's a Khemri or something like that. I know I've got that word wrong though. He's got his glowy eyes. I love it. It's really nice. So I'd imagine it's Tomb Kings versus Brettonia in the box set when it's released. I'll happily keep that bit of Tomb Kings, but we are going to be looking more at Brettonia, I think, for me and the Empire. So let's scroll down. Getting to work on a Brettonian was so exciting, adds Alistair, who created the Paladin. I collected a small Brettonian force previously for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, so being able to add to a range that I used to play with all those years ago was awesome. I really enjoyed being able to search through older source material for this inspiration. There's so much rich design language in the old army books that really inspired the design of this miniature. In my mind, Brettonian knights are stoic warriors and perhaps just a little pompous, so I wanted to make sure that those attitudes came across in a miniature by having him stand heroically over his beheaded opponent, an orc who I'm sure he bested in single combat with little trouble. That goes without saying, orcs are easily thrashed. Right, so here we have the sort of front view. He has got a double-handed sword of some variety. He's got his little dagger, and is that another weapon? He's got two. He's got a sword, dagger, and double-handed thing. That is, and he's got this very, very fancy sort of bucket helmet type thing with antlers attached to it. Very important, and a sort of glowy torch attached to his scabbard there. Nice plate armor, some sweet robes. He's in red and black. Currently, my sort of new Nuln army, which is made up for sort of Freeguild in Age of Sigmar, is red and black. Once the Empire lands, I think I'm going to debase them and put them onto square bases and just get back to that. But here's the reverse view of him. He's got his shield, scabbard. He's got the lantern hanging off the scabbard. He's got his sort of bedrolls. I don't know what that is, a chalice or a cup of some variety. You've got various sort of things. I don't know what that is. Maybe a turkey leg. I don't know. Drinking bottle. And there's that wretched orc with being skewered through the eyeball. Very nice to see. Talking about that artwork, there it is. This is only the start of a flood of new models for Warhammer the Old World. Keep checking back on this very website for more news on what's coming. In the meantime, there's been a ton of reveals for the other games at Warhammer Fest, and you can check them out here. Looking at this beautiful illustration right here, beautiful painting. Look on the right, you get the majesty and the sort of pompousness, as he said, of the Brettonians, a faction which always slightly terrifying. They looked really bright, and painting all the sort of quartering and stuff, and the sort of I've completely forgotten. Anyway, all the paintwork and the robes and the checkers and stuff, I loved it, but I never thought I could do it, so I never touched it. However, now I think that I can make a move in that direction and maybe finally get the Brettonian army I always wanted. And there are the Tomb Kings on the left, obviously, looking suitably, well, dead and dusty, but also quite regal. So that's a fun thing for everyone. Folks, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and all that sort of YouTube stuff. It really helps the channel. I am trying to grow it while I'm in this temporary housing and while we look for a new house. That's all I've got to say on that front. Thank you so much for all of your support in that regard. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.